Soon come back to me.
It just makes me feel proud to have this somehow in my family legacy, to even be adjacent to Louis Armstrong in any way.
Jeremiah McDonald uncovered a family heirloom tied to one of the great performers of the 20th century, but it wasn't what he expected. Here's the story.
I had a great uncle, Donny, who I never knew. He died when I was very young, but he was a jazz musician, and he never had any kids, so really all I know about him are two things. This album, which he put out in 1975, and it's a great album. He's a beautiful jazz trumpet player. There's actually a quote from Louis Armstrong on the album, which at least confirms some association with Louis Armstrong. I was told they were friends, and which is difficult for me to confirm now.
Yes, that Louis Armstrong.
Louis Armstrong was, an amazing trumpet player. Also just had a very beautiful and unique voice, very distinct voice. Just one of the great entertainers of the 20th century.
Armstrong, also known as Satchmo, may be one of the most recognizable figures of the last 100 years. Jeremiah was intrigued by his connection to the jazz great.
And then there's this. So for many years, I was aware that we had some document that had Louis Armstrong's signature on it, but it was always kept in a file box somewhere. And occasionally it would come out during spring cleaning. My mom would say, "Oh, look, it's the Louis Armstrong thing." And I'm like, "Oh, that's really cool." And then it would just be filed away. And afterwards I'd wonder, why aren't we displaying this? I mean, it's Louis Armstrong's signature. Like, why aren't we showing it off? And he also knew my great uncle. It's like, I don't know, like that it just seems like such an important thing. Cut to last year, my parents sold their house. They had to get rid of everything, all this stuff they've accumulated over the years. And so I called dibs on the Louis Armstrong documents. And so finally, about 4 months ago, I went to visit and I collected it and I looked at it and I said, "What is this?"
Was it sheet music, song lyrics, some artifact that might provide insight into Armstrong's genius?
It appeared to be some kind of diet plan involving laxatives. Louis Armstrong was a big proponent of laxatives as a dieting method, and he would sort of proselytize, to all his friends, acquaintances, even the royal family.
Jeremiah shared some of Armstrong's secrets.
So, of course, his dieting method, which is called the Satchmo way. Directions: at bedtime. P.S. Your first dose will be real heavy in order to start blasting right away, to get the ball rolling. After you get over your surprises and whatnot, you'll be very happy. The first week, take a tablespoon of Swiss Chris.
That's a laxative, still available today.
Put it in your mouth and rinse it down with a glass of water. 15 minutes later, drink a large glass of orange juice. Don't eat no food before going to bed. After the first week, cut Swiss Chris down to a teaspoon every night. At breakfast time, large glass of orange juice and black coffee or tea. At lunchtime, eat whatever you want, as much as you want. Just have slices of tomato and lemon juice over it. It's good. In fact, you may choose any salad that you like. Just see that you have some kind, any kind, coffee, tea, or etc. And he goes on. He goes into detail about, his feelings about laxatives as a weight loss method.
The Louis Armstrong document now occupies a special place in Jeremiah's home.
It's displayed prominently at my desk because it's not only, it's not only great to have Louis Armstrong's signature, but for it to have a place in my family history. My great uncle, who I admire as a jazz musician, to have had any association with Louis Armstrong, it's just, I don't know, and especially something like this, which seems very intimate in a way. It just seems so special.
Oh, and one more thing.
I'm not going to use the laxatives that he left behind.
This is Inside Edition Digital.
What a powerful favorite juice. I went back with, over this, oh yeah.